In this video, we'll take our simple problems a step further and we'll look at solving some application problems. So you can see right away that the statements of these problems are a little bit longer. So before we get our percentage, our part, and our base, we'll have to parse through the problem just to see exactly what we have. So in this example, if you win 20 chocolate bars at a bingo and you promised your sister 25% of your winnings, how many chocolate bars will you give your sister? So going through these, you win a total of 20 chocolate bars, so that has to be your total or your base. The percent of the winnings that you said you'd give your sister is 25%. That's pretty easy to pick out of the problem because it usually has that percent symbol with it. So what we're looking for is the part that we're giving to the sister. So again, we can do this in two ways, the ratio method or the formula method, now that we've isolated our knowns and unknowns. So let's go ahead and do that. Using the ratio method, we have the percentage, which was 25 over 100, and that's equal to the part over the base, and the x is the part. So solving for x, we multiply both sides by 20, and so you have to be able to calculate 20 times 25 divided by 100. If you use the prime factorization, you'll see that everything cancels out except for a single 5, or if you use a calculator, you'll get right away to 5. The formula method, our 25% we have to convert to 0.25, move the decimal 2 places to the left, and then 0.25 times our base, which was 20, gives us 5. In a second problem here, let's read it through. When there was a boom in the real estate market, Lucy sold her property for $410,440, and this was 130% of the amount she paid for it. Calculate the amount she paid for the property. So this is one of the more odd cases where the percentage we're dealing with is over 100. So that means that the part is actually going to be bigger than the base. So the percent that she got was 130%, and she sold it for $410,000, and that was 130% of the amount we paid. So the unknown is the amount that we paid, and we do see the of show up there. So that is our unknown, and that's our base. So now that we have isolated what those knowns and unknowns are, we can look at the two methods again. The ratio method, 130 over 100 is equal to the part over the base. Solving for x, again, multiply both sides by x, so that will cancel them out on the right. And then what we're going to do is we have the 130 over 100, and we'll do the same thing where we multiply by the reciprocal of that fraction on both sides. So we multiply by 100 over 130. That cancels out on the left. And then that evaluation on the right, you're probably going to use a calculator for, and you'll get x is $315,723 as the original purchase price for the house. Using the formula method, we'll first convert the 130% to a decimal. So we move it 2 places to the left, so it becomes 1.3. And now we take our percent times base is equal to the part. So 1.3 times some unknown base is equal to 410, 440. So dividing both sides by 1.3, and then evaluating on the right, we get the same $315,723. We'll do one application question by hand. So the question says, what would the sale price be if tires normally selling for $125.79 are discounted by 20%? So let's figure out what is our percent, part, and total. So this is definitely the percent. And what would the sale price be if tires normally selling for this? So that means this is our base, and our part is the unknown part. So let's do this using ratio method first. And then we'll say that 20% over 100 is equal to what part? X over 125.79. So solving for x, we're going to multiply both sides by, I'll just write it up here, so I didn't leave myself room on the left, times 125.79. So that cancels out on the right. Working this out here, I'm just going to write that the x is equal to 20 times 125.79 divided by 100, and I get $25.16. So this part is quite low. So you have to then relook at the question and say, what does this represent? So if it's a discount of 20%, then this part here represents the discount. So that means if we want the sale price, our sale price is equal to the total 125.79 minus the discount of 25.16. So that means our sale price is $100.63. So using the formula method here, I'm going to come at this from a slightly different angle. If the discount is 20%, then we still pay is 80%. So this is another way to think of it, and we'll get right away to the $100 answer here. So our sale price, let's use 0.80 as the percentage now, of 125.79 is equal to some part x. And when we do 0.8 times 125.79, right away we get the $100.63 sale price.